everybody, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada. We are stand-up comedians.
Stand-up comedians that are currently jobless because of the coronavirus.
We're finally going to be the doctors our mothers wanted us to be.
Is there anything that we don't know?
A lot, actually. We have a lot of questions. We have a lot of answers.
All of them wrong.
But we do have access to
Google.
And a vet.
Oh yeah, my mom's a vet. She knows some stuff. We have to do this
So
again.
every once in a while, we're going to invite her on. No, we don't. We're going to actually use this. Welcome to Two Non-Doctors.
We're recording. I'm recording.
No. Okay.
Do it again.
Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
Yeah, we're still home. I don't know, you know me, I love my to-do list, but my to-do list is starting to have things that I'm embarrassed about. Like, I was like, find someone with a Disney Plus account, then start watching everything on Disney Plus before they get mad at me messing up their algorithm. I just want to.
That's funny. I'm like, learn Premiere Pro.
Oh yeah, no, it's
find a violin and play it.
I do like the idea that like you truly are going to become a superior human and I'm just going to be a 7-year-old. Especially if we do figure out video and people see the video and they see me in pigtails, they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. Maria looks like the educated one. I wanted to watch Onward. It's like the new Disney, I think Pixar movie. I can't remember if it was, but I was like on a mission. And I'll be honest, half the reason I wanted to watch Onward is because everybody said they cried at the end, and I think I just needed a good cry.
Aww.
Yeah, and I did. I bawled my eyes out. It was really cute, and I just cried for the father. Like, it's about him trying to see his father, and I just cried for the father I do have that I just am.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Do you think Disney movies are made to see if your child's a sociopath? Like, you play it for them, and then they don't cry. They're just like, when's lunch? And you're like, oh, you're dead inside. Good to know.
But you know what it is like, if that movie is really for 7-year-olds, I don't think they understand loss. Like, I really think the heartstring emotions is for the adults, and to be like, I should call my father. I should appreciate my father while he's here. And then the kids are like, cool, he did magic. Can I have a sandwich? Like, I don't actually think the heartstring part is for the kids. All the silliness is for the kids, and the emotion is to have the parents invested. And like, for me to go, oh my God, I need to get my life together. I watched a Disney movie and I was like, I need to call my family. Like, this.
Why is mommy crying?
Yeah. And I'm just like, 'cause I'm just not the daughter I should be. And then the other mission is to watch all the Simpsons from the beginning. But my boyfriend keeps
that's a good one.
watching. Thank you. I thought so. My little brother, actually, my baby brother Greg, is like a huge Simpsons fan, and just in general, again, probably because we all have OCD. He'll have a mission, and it's very chronicle and whatever. So he's watched almost every show from beginning to end. So I remember. So my brother, when he was in high school, watched every single SNL to the point where I was like, "How were the ones in the '70s?" He's like, "Not great." He was like, "I didn't enjoy it," but he watched every single one. So I told my boyfriend I wanted to watch all the Simpsons, and he's like, we're not going to watch the first 2 seasons, are we? And I was like, I don't know. I wanted to enjoy what wasn't enjoyable about them. Like, I can watch bad comedy and have some pleasure from hate watching. I think a lot of people do. Believe me, I've read all my YouTube comments. There's a lot of hate watching out there. And I'm like, good for you. Way to be invested in your anger. But I also think you can learn. I've always told younger comics, you can learn from what you don't like just as much as you can learn from what you do like. And also as two people that write scripts and stuff, I think you learn from being like, oh, this is what they decided as a way to intro these characters. This is a way. I don't know. So right now we're just kind of miscellaneously watching Simpsons, but I think there's going to be a bad day where I start from the beginning and just hunker down.
I've been dying to do that with The Sopranos. We started doing it with Mad Men.
I'm one of those people that doesn't watch things, and I'm not. I don't think loyal is the right thing. I get easily. I wouldn't say distracted. I get triggered, and I give up. And I almost need somebody to like sit me down and deal with the anxiety I'm feeling in the episode. So I I've never seen The Sopranos. I've never seen The Wire. I've never seen Lost. I've never seen Breaking Bad.
You're like, too Italian, too Jersey. I can't do it.
Yeah, too many monsters. Not enough meth, putting it out there. But I don't do well with violence. We started watching 24 because I've never seen it before. And there's no way I could have gotten through it if I wasn't at my boyfriend's. And like, there'll be times where I'm like fully in his armpit and he's like, this isn't even the scary part. And I was like, yeah, but it feels like the guy's not going to call her back. And I can't, you got me into Glow. And I think I told you there was a scene, like, you know, the whole thing is about girls wrestling and it's silly and it's fun. But I think it's third season. She goes in for an audition and the producer is about to talk bad about her behind her back. And I turned it off and I didn't watch it for almost a month because I was like, this is too close to my own life. Like, I can't. I watch girls wrestling so that I can get away. And that's how I kind of understood why people don't like comedy and politics put together. It's like, I come to comedy to get away from how much the world sucks. I don't want you talking about politics. And I kind of got it where I was like, I watch girls wrestling so that I don't have to think about auditions. Like, this is upsetting.
I mean, I get that. I didn't get it for Glow because it's so good. And
I loved it.
The same thing happened with you and Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, I dropped off completely.
Which is amazing.
Are you okay in your quarantine?
Yeah, I am. I'm tired today. I don't know if it's like PMS or whatever. You know, when you wake up with a headache and you're just kind of groggy the whole day.
Yeah.
I started editing something and I got super focused on that. And then I went to post it on YouTube and it didn't load. And like, so now my whole life is over. It's just,
oh, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I know where your headspace is.
Wait an hour and a half and then it's just stopped and you're just like, ah! So
where you're like, I want to throw my computer, but I feel like that's going to cause more problems. And now I have to figure out another way to express my rage.
Like, for some reason, my browser stopped saving my passwords or just deleted all of them. So it's like, I need something to go into to do this, but by that I have to log into this, but I can't figure out my password for that. So I either have to figure it out or redo the password. But then to do, you know what I mean? Like it takes you 5 steps back to do 1 step forward.
Oh, you mean life?
Yes. And I
You're
can't,
experiencing life in real time.
Yeah, like you have an issue with your bank account, so you log into your thing, and then you miss your password 3 times, then it logs you out forever, and you're like, I don't have money anymore. That's it. It's done.
You're like, cool. You're like, hey, can I borrow $10? And they're like, oh, you're doing really bad. You're like, no, I just don't know my password, and I'm sad now.
I cannot be fucked to figure it out.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody knows that's where Maria is today, and to be nice about it. We should do fan mail.
I'm loving the fan mail, guys. Thank you so much for writing in.
I love all the comments.
Yeah, comments, feedback, tips. People, I went through this and
yeah, people are trying to help. People are giving us advice. People are just like, this isn't accurate, but I enjoy it. And I'm like, thank you so much.
It warms my cold, cold heart more than a Disney movie.
Yes. I loved this comment. This is from Patrick. He wanted to ask us some questions. He goes, if you guys are taking questions, can you answer in the next podcast? And it won't be the next podcast. Sorry. This will be like 4 later. Cause we're on it. We are organized because someday we won't be stuck at home. But anyway, he says, if you guys are taking questions, do either of you play chess or cards? I love that that's his main question. Also, did either of you go to college? And if so, for what? I played chess in high school, like with like my grandfather and like my dad. I mean, I'm not good at all, but I felt a false level of confidence just because I understood it. And then I love card games. I mean, that's my, like, I still love playing card games. I went to Japan with my boyfriend and his family. And that's like, during the day, we're like looking around and like being tourists and eating and blah, blah, blah. And then we would come home at like 10 and just play card games until midnight while drinking. And it was the best.
Card games are fun. I don't remember any of them. Johnny and I started playing. He taught me. Now, this is the thought process I have to go to figure out what the game is called. Manuka, Manasta, Nasty, Canasta. It's called Canasta. But I have to do that every time.
I love that you didn't want dead airwaves, so you brought us on that journey. But I think you're going to like re-edit this to be like, I can't let people know that's how I get there.
Oh, no, that's how I get there. I do it too. I go, do you want to play Manuka, Manasta, Canasta? Which is a lot of fun. But like, I won. Like beginner's luck all the way. Like I scored so many points, like by the 3rd game I played. I was like, I'm the shit at this. And then he was like, oh, she's ready. And so he played for real.
Oh.
He wasn't letting me win before, but he was playing conservatively.
Yeah.
And like not like having so much strategy. And then I just destroyed him. So he was like, oh bitch, it's on. And then I just kept losing and losing and losing to the point that I like looked up like strategies and rules, and he was like, dude, are you looking up the rules? Like I don't know what they are.
Bitch, I taught you. I taught you how to play this game.
There might be something you're missing. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, I was waiting for you to be like, and I just kept losing and losing, and now I don't have a home because we broke up because I was so angry. Yeah, I get really. I love board games. I love card games. Oh, please.
The anger, like that I was feeling every time I kept because you kind of get into this corner. Then once you're in it, you can't get out of it. Like, or it's really like you pretty much have to wait for them to win. And the level of anger, I felt like I had to analyze myself during the anger to be like, now, what is it about this card game that is upsetting you so much? There's no chance for me. I can't do anything. I'm just sitting here. I mean, like, it was real. It was real anger. I mean,
I get extremely competitive and I take losses quite personally. I'm not like flip a table, you can all go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not there, but I am too close to there to feel good about myself. Like, I love ping pong, like, but when I play somebody that's like genuinely really good, I'm like, I hate you. I hate your family. I hate how you got this good. And it makes me upset that you have other talents outside of this. Like, I hate that you're a multi-talented person and now I'm playing you in ping pong and I'm thinking like he'll roll his ankle and I'll have an advantage. Like, it's the same level of like, what do I have to do to not get better, but to lessen his abilities?
Yeah.
And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. I think Patrick is like, I regret this question. And
what was the other one?
Oh, college.
Did we go to university?
Yeah. You went to college. What did you go to college for? I think I know.
My father.
Yeah, cool.
I didn't want to go to college, but I didn't have a better plan. And so I couldn't defend myself. You know, it wasn't like, well, actually, what I want to do is, and so I was like, I just don't want to go. Like, I just did 12 years of school. Like, why do I want to? Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went for, I failed out of nutrition because there was a lot of science and I like the food part.
Okay.
And so I took my credits that I had, basically I wanted to graduate as soon as I could. So, which was retail merchandising. So I majored in shopping.
Wow. Okay. So what would you have done? Did you ever do anything with retail merchandising?
No. In fact, when I graduated, I was driving home from university. It was an 1.5-hour drive. And I was like, I don't want to just get a job, like a 9-to-5 job or do anything with retail. And this is the first time my voice ever spoke to me. And my voice said, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I don't know. I like comedy. I could work at a comedy club. And he was like, go do that. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I went to the mall.
Voice.
Yeah, seriously. And I went to the mall and I told the girl at the box office, I was like, I want to apply for a job. And she was like, oh, we're not hiring. And I was like, that's weird because I just had this, instinct. And she's like, oh, let's tell you. So I went to Chipotle, and in line at Chipotle was the manager for the comedy club. And I was like, oh, I just went there to see if you were hiring, but you're not. He's like, yeah, we are. And so he was like, yeah, apply. And because I was holding the application because I took it anyway. And I was like, oh, okay. And then that changed my life. Literally following my gut to Chipotle changed my life.
I hope you write a letter to Chipotle. Like, I think they need to know that your need for them has sparked your entire career. I think it's really beautiful. And now, fast forward.
If you want to sponsor us, you'd spark my
Chipotle. Just actually, you don't even have to do anything. Just give us the guac for free. Is really what.
Just give me one of the. They have those coins that you can get free burritos if you're famous.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
I've never heard of that.
Famous people have a whole world to themselves, and yeah.
I want stuff. I want free stuff.
You know what's good for your health? Chipotle.
Yeah. We can lie. Well, I mean, we barely know facts. What's lying is just one step there. I don't know anything, and I know a little bit, and I said the wrong thing.
We're just guessing.
We really are. Crap, what was I going to say?
You went to school.
I did, but no, I completely relate to, I didn't want to go to college. I hated school. I still hate school. I like learning, and it took me a long time to understand how I learn. And I read a lot, but I've never enjoyed school. I absolutely didn't want to go to college. I went to school 100% for my father. If my parents paid for college, I'm very fortunate. I've always known that. There was a time where I thought he wasn't going to pay, and I was like, cool, I can drop out. Like, I felt nothing towards it. I will say this, I worked hard when I was in school and I did the best I could. And I tried to utilize, I went to the school I wanted to. I went to the new school for creative writing. And I do feel like I learned a lot. Actually, like I said in another podcast, I ran into my freshman year professor and he taught persuasive writing. And I think I utilize that every day in everything I do. Like he had a huge impact on me. So I think I learned a lot, but I honestly, I did the same thing. I tried to get through it as quick as possible. I graduated a semester early because I just banked as many credits as possible. All my internships, I did an internship at Conan. I did like a full internship for one semester, and then I kept doing 1 day a week for a whole year because I just wanted to work there and I liked them and they were really nice. And this was when they were in the city. And then I did a semester interning at The Daily Show. I just tried to do anything that was comedy related or writing related. And then I graduated a semester early with a piece of paper I probably couldn't even find. I would say the first time I utilized my writing degree is I was on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me last year. And there's a section where it's called Bluff the Listener. One of the guests has to like creatively write the real thing that happened, and then everybody else has to write something fake. And I had one of the fake ones, and I had so much fun with it, and it went over so well. And I was telling Peter Sagal, who's the host, he's like, "Oh, how'd you feel?" And I was like, "I think that's the first." Like my dad was in the audience because he loves that show. I was like, "I think this is the first time I used my degree," and my dad's like, "Cool." And then I just wrote a cat book that'll come out next year, and that's the second time I used my degree. I will say this: I didn't want to go to college. I very much went for my father. I tried to take it seriously, but really, I just did stand up as much as I could every single night. I was the type of person that I would do my homework while waiting to go on stage. And that's how a lot of comics knew me for a really long time. I would make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I would bring my books and I would do my work at the bar. And then I would go tell jokes. So people kind of have always seen, I had people like 20 years later, they're like, "How's college going?" And I was like, I know I haven't aged, but like time does continue to go. Like I just never understood that. But if I could all do it over again, I would have not gone to college. Because I was always a waitress or, temp, and I was always doing side jobs on top of that. But I would have just done stand up. And then around like 24, I really gotten into screenwriting and like writing on my own. And I wish I could have taken like classes. Like I wish I could have like taken the money that I either like put aside for myself or like then asked my parents for college money and then taken just like a year's worth of like writing courses.
Like I always say, I wanted that year off in between, but that wouldn't have been enough. I needed like a decade off and go. Then after like 10 years, I'm like, I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I know why I want to go to college.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever needed it, and I don't think I utilized it, and I wish now I can like kind of put my foot down and have boundaries and speak for myself, but the same way that like the first time you heard your voice was like right when you were like, what do I want to do? I really feel like it wasn't until my mid to late 20s that I started to like set boundaries and like stick up for myself, and I wish I had that when I was a teenager because I don't know. There's so many things I wish I did for myself, and even though I was doing stand-up, and I'm grateful that I always had that boundary. I should be clear about that. But it was a real waste of time for me to go to college in a lot of ways. I made some great friends. That's not true. But I don't think you should pay for them the way my parents did. This is just sad now.
Yeah, well, cool. Let's
get into our Googles. What's your Google?
I Googled, can you change the time of day that you're most productive? You know how you have the most productive time of day?
I like that.
Like, because I'm such a morning person. And like if I were on my own, I'd probably get up at 7, make a cup of coffee, read a bit of the news, and then start writing. But in a relationship, you get up at 7, make a cup of coffee, read a bit of the news, cuddle, and then
okay.
And then you don't get to things until about 12. So I was like, well, maybe I can change my time of day to the afternoon because I've always been like absolutely useless in the afternoon, no matter what I'm doing, school, jobs. By 2 p.m., I'm nothing. No thought enters my brain, So I wanted to see if like your most productive time of day could be at a different time of day. And the one article I read said, yes, you can change your time of day. I think you just have to start being productive at that time of day and then kind of trick your brain into thinking, oh, this is the time of day.
Oh, almost like Pavlov's dog. Is that, I think Pavlov. Thank you.
Yeah.
But like that idea that like, I mean, I've read enough books about how you build habits and stuff, but if at 2:00, it's always sit down, like you set an alarm, you sit down, you get stuff done, and then you get that kind of high joy from like being productive. I don't know if you're like that, but like if I knock three things out off my to-do list, I'm just like, am I a genius? Like, am I
have a good list?
Oh my God, crossing off three things in a row, just a part of, I don't even need to like treat myself with like watching something. I just like, I'm walking around my I have like big dick energy from like crossing three things off my to-do list.
I was watching Shonda Rhimes' masterclass, and I don't remember it fully, but she did say that you can train yourself into like getting into the zone much quicker.
Who is she again?
She wrote Grey's Anatomy and some other things.
Oh, yeah. Chris was watching that. My roommate Chris was watching her.
Yeah, so, but she basically says, I'm at the point now where whenever I just put my headphones in, I'm in the zone. She can write anywhere, because everybody's like, oh, I have to be at my desk with a cup of coffee or a glass of whiskey, and it's got to be 7:35 p.m. at night. And she's just like, no, I just train myself so that if I'm putting in my headphones, my brain goes, oh, we're writing. And then she just gets into it, which is really cool.
But I think, I think we kind of understand that though, because do you know how many people would tell me like, oh, I have to be at my home club. I only do well at this club. And I was like, dude, our whole job is to tour. If you can only do well at this one club in this one city, I don't know what to tell you. So it's like the ability to be the best version of yourself, be the best performer at every club that you ever go to. I think we instinctually know how to get into the zone because that's what we do. But I think you're right that we kind of trick ourselves that we need this time of this day with this pen at this desk. And really it's about finding two malleable tricks and then setting yourself up.
Yeah, but I've been a morning person through and through. Like, I love mornings. Like, I'm like, everything's right with the world. It's a brand new day. It's a fresh start. And Johnny's very much not a morning person. He's like, I don't know. I wake up in the morning and go, I don't trust you yet. And then by 4 p.m., he's like, maybe you're okay. And I'm like, by 4 p.m., I'm like, you let me down.
Do you remember? I mean, we have so many, because I'm not a morning person, but I'm not whatever you are. You're like an exceptional morning person. But I think it was in Edinburgh. You were staying with me for a couple of days while I was doing the festival, which I was already like a drained human in general. But you woke up, you threw your phone in my face to show me something, and you were so excited. And I couldn't process it. I stared at you and you went, oh, okay, I'll show you this again in an hour. And I was like,
first of all, I had gotten verified on Twitter. It was a huge moment for me.
Yep.
I put my phone in your face and your eyes got wide and murderous. Yeah. And you have very expressive eyes.
I do. Yep.
And I was like, oh, loud and clear. Thank you very much. I'll just go make coffee. I'll be around the city somewhere. Bye.
Yeah. We'll reconvene. I'll show you again. But there's been a couple of times where like, I don't know if like we're girls and we're tiny. So we've shared so many beds traveling all around the world. I don't know if that's weird. I don't care. But the amount of times that like you've literally rolled over, looked at me, I've woken up because you're staring at me and you're like, morning. And I'm like, no, Maria. I'm pretty sure I now wear a face mask to bed and I'm pretty sure it's your fault. Like I just can't, like I've just seen too many like just tiny wide-eyed Egyptian being like ready to start your day. And I'm like,
it's the greatest day of your life.
Okay. Great Google. I love how creative that was. Mine was, is lip balm a scam?
Oh, yeah. This I want to know.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So it did that kind of Google thing that always happens where you Google it and it says, did you actually mean? So most of it came up is like lip balm actually good for you? Like my whole thing is it's a conspiracy theory since the 20s that lip balm, and like, of course, like all those old, not wives' tales. What do you call those? Myths about like broken glass being in it, stuff like. So I read like two different articles, but basically it says, in general, your lips have no hair follicles and no oil glands. So they do have a harder time being as moist as the rest of your face. But what they do get is they get the oil from around your lips. They said kind of the worst thing for you is to use lip balm because lip balm in general does dehydrate it. Basically what it was saying is that there's certain ingredients in most common lip balms that can be irritating and drying, usually to sensitive people. So it becomes this like cyclical, I made almost like a map in my notebook, by the way. So it was like sensitive people, certain ingredients will dry it out. And then because it dries it out faster than normal, you reapply it and it becomes almost addictive in habits because it's like, all right, my lips are a little dry. I don't like it, then you start using this lip balm that makes it worse, and then you are constantly applying it. So it's not 100% bad for you. There are certain ingredients that they're starting to see in general cause extra dehydration in your lips and agitation, and that's what's kind of happening. So really, it's like a person to person thing. My dad used chapstick, like the brand chapstick, and I always felt like I was addicted to it. And then I switched to Burt's Bees, has like a pomegranate one. Besides just enjoying it, I feel like I only need to use it once a day, as opposed to I was one of those people that would apply it, I felt like every hour on the hour.
I heard that chapstick specifically dries out your lips so that you need it over and over and over again.
I'm sure it is. Like, I think some of the old school brands are filled with chemicals that your body, and then I'm sure I would have to dig deeper, but I'm sure there's certain just like, the kind of filler ingredients, almost like what they talk about with vitamins, that for it to be more sustainable or whatever. And then it started to have this kind of accidental cause and effect. And now we're all addicted to chapstick. But what they didn't really say is, like, in general, in the winter, your face is drier. Like, your hands, usually, like, if you don't wear gloves and you're clearly not wearing anything on your face up until the quarantine, it is exposed. Therefore, it can get more dry than the rest of your body that's clothed. So it does seem like it does need more help, and lip balm has a purpose, but I guess it just depends on which one you use. So there's like a whole, I didn't want to write it down because I'm lazy, but there is a whole list of like ingredients you should avoid. Like they said, beeswax, not beeswax specifically, but there's something in beeswax that's like a byproduct that is often in stuff that more and more people are becoming allergic to.
Burt's Bees is good though.
I think so, but I don't know. I personally, as somebody that has very sensitive skin, like the pomegranate Burt's Bees, and feel like I'm less addicted to chapstick because of it. But yeah, so
what if you just used olive oil? You use it for your nails. Why not your lips?
I actually have. It's just that it's super shiny, and then you smell like the most Italian woman that's ever walked the earth. So, I mean, that's sometimes I'll use like coconut oil. Like that's something that, because almost in general, half of my beauty products have a little coconutty scent to them.
You're all about the coconut.
I'm just a walking coconut. But this week's Let's Get Personal. Do you wear shoes in your apartment, room, or bathroom, and or all of them?
Yes. In your bathroom. Are you going to take off your shoes before you go to the bathroom?
Yeah. Well, the reason I even added that is because my brother-in-law, my little sister's husband, is Filipino, and I have to take my shoes off before I go in the bathroom. So his family.
That's the dirtiest place.
What do you mean?
That's like where all the like shit splatters and the pee splatters, and that's where you're going to want your shoes the most.
I think his feeling is the opposite, which is you take a shower in there. There's a bath mat, so your clean, naked feet are going onto the bath mat. And if you walked in there with shoes, now your new clean, naked feet are dirty from your shoe debris.
Yeah, but they're going to get dirty as soon as you go into the hallway. Why just your bathroom?
I can't answer these questions.
Can we get him on here?
Yeah.
I want to talk to him about this.
No. I would say my friends are that's not a word. Split down the middle of people that take your shoes off as soon as you come in, and I don't give a shit. And my whole family's and I don't give a shit. I didn't even know it was a thing. This is how white I am. I didn't even know it was a thing until I think after college. Like my little sister, when she dormed, her three roommates were Asian from Asia, and they had all these rules, and it was like me and my sister being like, why? Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know. Like, and you start to be like, oh, I guess we are gross. Like, I don't hear people's rules and think they're wrong. I hear people's rules and be like, oh, I guess that's a really good point. So like now I'm aware that it's kind of gross, but I haven't changed my habits.
Definitely. And I always feel bad going to people's houses who have children, and I walk around there with shoes on. I'm like, shouldn't I be taking my shoes off? Like, because your kid's crawling around all over the floor.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like Johnny's not that person. Like, he doesn't take his shoes off, but he puts his feet, like shoes on the table, and sometimes on couch pillows. That makes me scream on the inside.
Yeah, I think shoes on a couch would probably bother me, only if it's my couch. Like, it's
not mine. That's the thing. It's like, do what you want.
I get the logic that shoes are gross, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother. I like shoes.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than going to like a house party and you have like cute boots on and it makes the outfit. And then you go to the party and they're like, hey, we take off our shoes. And you're like, I wouldn't have worn this outfit. Like, I would have.
Yeah. I think if you're going to have a party, just deal with the shoes. Just deal with it and clean it later.
Yeah, I can't. But yeah, I like my shoes. I wear them everywhere. I've even done the thing where I'll sit in my bed and I don't want to take my shoes off, so I just have them, like, I just dangle my feet on the side of the bed because I'm too lazy to take my shoes off. So I won't put them on my bed, which is not, in college, I absolutely put them on my bed. I didn't give a shit. So I've grown a little bit as a human, but now I still like having my shoes on. I don't want to take them off, and I just kind of dangle them, and that's my compromise.
I do that too. Yeah. But I wouldn't put my shoes on my bed in my own home. But if other people allow it, I'll do it. Like, you know, you ate cookies in my bed, and I was like, no, you don't do that.
No, you don't do that.
But I'll eat cookies in your bed if that's okay.
Yeah, cool. Good. Hypocrites. We are two non-hypocrites. Okay, let's get into our topic. I like this one. You brought this one up, and I relate to it. Our topic today is introverts and just personal space, like the need for personal space, how important it is to you. We talked on another podcast about how I kind of always diagnosed you as an extrovert. That's not the right way of saying it, is it?
It is extrovert.
Extrovert?
Yeah.
Okay. But that it's not completely accurate anymore. And also, I do think there's a lot of people that just because you're an extrovert in one area doesn't mean you're not an introvert in another area. And also that people change in general. But I don't know. I kind of want to hear how you diagnose being an introvert and what your definition of needing space and being away from people is.
I guess because Johnny's an introvert and my last relationship was an introvert. I think I just thought of introverts as people who weren't social and just didn't want to be social and would rather be at home reading a book. But it's more like they run out of energy. It's like they have so much energy for other people and then they get drained and they have to recharge. So you have to be on their own to do that. And I don't understand what that is. Like, I don't need to do that quite so often. I found out in the quarantine, I do need to do that.
Oh, that's interesting.
but it's not nearly as much or as often.
So it's like you have a new iPhone and I have like an old version of an iPhone. Like you just need to plug it in for 10 minutes and it zooms back up. And I have like a 4 and I'm just like, it's going to have to be here for 3 days if I want to get full battery.
Totally. Like last night, Johnny, after we ate, Johnny was like, I just need to spend a couple hours on my own. And I was like, I totally get it. But when we first started the relationship, we'd be hanging out during the day and he'd just sort of be like, I need to be on my own now. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? What? Like, are you kicking me out? And he's like, no, like, it's not personal. And I'm like, well, I'm taking it very personally. Like, it was really hard to kind of navigate that at the beginning. I didn't know what it meant to need space to recharge, to think, to be on your own.
What I find interesting is that I think everybody needs it, but they don't see the signs of it. Like I get really agitated. Like that's when I know I need to be alone. Like I start to get like grumpy and like standoffish and I stop listening. It almost flips a switch when I'm drained, where all of a sudden, like you might be telling me a story and I was fully present. And now I'm like, I gotta go. And now I can say it. Now I can be like, hey, I'm exhausted. Like I need to be alone. Like
the other day I did that. I think we had just finished a podcast and I just felt drained because I'd worked all day. I don't think I stopped working until like 9:00. And Johnny's talking to me and I just felt bad because my brain kept wandering off to whatever I'd just been doing. Like I didn't have enough time to digest my whole day. And so he's like, information's coming at me and I couldn't focus on him. And I wonder if that's what he feels like. And he's just like, that's when he needs to retreat.
Yeah. And you stop being able to be like fully present for people. And then you start to be, to me, I start to be kind of bitchy in a way that like, I can see myself being bitchy and I don't want to be, but I don't have the energy to be the best version of myself. So I've had it where my little sister will call me up and she'll be upset about something and she'll want to vent and I'll have to be like, I can't do it. There's no way that, so if I try to be there for you, we're going to get in a fight because I'm not able to be as present for you as you would want me to be. So it's almost better that you find somebody else. And
yeah,
that's easier to do with a friend, which in general, you have multiple friends. It's a lot harder to do in a relationship where you're supposed to be my one person and you're supposed to be the person I can always go to or that always wants to spend time with me, which I think is a little bit of a fallacy. But just going back, I forget where I read it, but it was the best way to describe it. To me, the difference between an extrovert and an introvert is an extrovert needs to be around others to recharge and an introvert needs to be alone to recharge. So I have friends that they start to get down and grumpy and upset when they're not around people. And so going to a party, being in like a fun situation, going to a dinner is what kind of recharges them and makes them feel full. And I can do those things. I like going out to dinner with my friends. I like being around people, but I think I drain a little faster. And once I drain, I mean, I've said it so many times where I'll be at the table at the cellar and it'll be a really fun time. And I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm hanging out with my peers, and then it'll just click. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
hey guys, I got to go. And it's not, I don't feel like, sometimes because I don't know how to describe it, I'll be like, I'm just not feeling well, or I have a headache, or I have a big morning tomorrow. All of them are lies. I just, it's a moment where I'm like, this isn't fun anymore. And it becomes very quickly really bad emotionally for me.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think when I was younger, I tried to force it, and I found myself not being the version I wanted to be around people. And now I know how to kind of call it. And of course, with my close friends, I'd be like, hey, I'm tapped out. Like the first week of quarantine, I remember there was a day where like we did a podcast. We talked about stuff we had to do. I talked to my friend Hurry. I talked to Adrian and Carmen. And then I had to talk to my dad about health insurance stuff. So then my little sister wants to talk. And I go, dude, I haven't left the house. And this is the most communication and social interacting I've had in years. I can't. I just can't. I was like truly becoming like just angry. And not like because I was mad at anybody. It was just, I was so overwhelmed. It was just, I've never talked to that many people in a day in my life.
There is like a certain amount of emotional space that you have. And I feel that too. I felt that in Edinburgh. I think that because that's such a challenging festival when it's like you're performing an hour show every night for 30 days. And I didn't have any emotional space for anybody who wasn't at the festival. Because I couldn't start a conversation with, so how's Edinburgh? Or like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it was just like, I didn't want to start back like 10 steps to catch you up with. It was like, if you're not in my face directly, I cannot talk.
Which is interesting because I think with pretty much almost the whole world being on lockdown, everybody's kind of starting at the same page, which actually does in some ways make it easy. Like, we're all in the same level of concern and worry and financial uncertainty, emotional uncertainty, health uncertainty, future uncertainty, that it does make it a little easier that when I talk to somebody, we are immediately on the same page. We might have different problems. I have a couple of friends that can work from home. I have friends that are like, I'm not sure how I'm going to make rent. Like, it's all over the place in some other areas, but we're all mentally kind of in the same place.
Right. You're not like on different episodes of a Netflix series.
Yeah. Where I'm like, no spoilers, no spoilers. Although I do feel like China. I'm like, no spoilers, no spoilers. Nope.
Oh, right. Because they just got, I thought it was a racist joke at first.
No, it's just about how they're 2 months ahead of us.
Nope. No, I got it, but that's why I didn't laugh right away because I was like, "What?" And then I got it.
Nope. China's just their doors are starting to open.
I'm living in fear of like America getting off lockdown before the UK, or do you know what I mean? Like the FOMO that I'll have.
That's interesting.
If other people are free and running around and doing whatever, and I'm still like stuck in, it will hurt.
Well, it almost feels like if I followed like 6 Chinese comics, and I'm just like, don't show me that you're on stage.
Oh my God.
It really.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Yeah. They're just like, had a great show, and like, not that it would be in English, but it'd be like, all right, China, you stop with your great shows. I honestly think because we've handled it so poorly that I think America is both going to be the pretty much the last at everything. I think.
Don't you feel like New Zealand's a bit smug? They're so smug about like, I like that woman. I like their prime minister a lot. I think she's awesome and forward thinking, but enough already. Like, she was probably the girl in high school that everybody was like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like,
are you asking for more homework? She's like, can you send more viruses? Because we're handling this so well.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. What has she said? I don't think I followed as much.
Not that she hasn't said much of anything. Just that they followed the proper protocol like early on. She saw the signs. She didn't wait. She locked down the country and she was pretty boastful about it, but like, which I
would be too.
Hey,
yeah,
awesome job. Yeah. But at the same time, like, can't you just like, don't you think about that? Like, you picture her in high school, and people are like, "Oh, great, you're good at tennis, you're good at the violin, you're prom queen, and you're valedictorian." Fuck you.
Yeah, no, she's the girl that's like, they said in the syllabus on the first day that this was the test was going to be every Tuesday. Like, why wouldn't you study? And you're just like, I don't know. there's a part of me that's like, cool, you have a great leader. That's not a choice for most of us. like
It's like we're all driving to go on vacation, to go to the beach, and her car is already there. They're already at the beach. They're having drinks on the beach, and our car is broke down, and your car's right behind us, broke down somewhere.
Yeah.
We're never going to get to the beach. Our leaders don't have any idea what's going on.
I'm like looking at tools, being like, I don't even think these tools are for cars. Like, I didn't even bring the correct tools. I had I don't even know if he was a fan. It was just somebody on Instagram. I like just shared something that just showed how many Americans were dropped from their health insurance during the coronavirus, and then how many people in other countries were dropped from their health insurance, and it's all zero, and ours is like millions. And so I was like, cool, we're the worst. And he was just like, why would you share that? And I go, people should know we're the worst. And he goes, well, we're not the worst.
Who said why would you share that?
Just a fan or somebody that saw it on my Insta stories. And he goes, why would you share that? And I was just like, I don't know, because we're the worst. He goes, how is that helpful? And I go, probably isn't. But at the same time, like, it's a travesty, and people need to know that everybody's doing it better than us. And he said something about like, well, we're not the worst. And I was like, kind of are though. Like, I don't have a I've never been like ultimately patriotic. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong. I have no problem admitting when I do things wrong. I think being a part of a country where I feel like I have very little say in a lot of ways, I do want to voice that I'm angry that things are being done wrong and that people are being dropped from their health insurance during a pandemic. Like, it's just so funny to me where people, the same way that like there's people boasting like, we did it right and we listened, and then you're like, I wish I had that leader. And then I'm going, well, we did everything wrong. So at the very least, I almost be, especially because I have an international fan base, I want to be like, I know. Like, I'm very aware that America has been doing it wrong for centuries, over and over again.
That should be the slogan. America, doing it wrong for centuries.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There's only been like 2 centuries.
What I do find interesting is that earlier in this podcast, I say I have no problem with hate watching, and that you can learn just as much from watching somebody do something wrong as you can from watching somebody do something right, referring to comedy. And now as I look forward, I go, oh, I think I'm doing that with America. Or I'm just like, we look at New Zealand and we're like, that would have been the correct way to handle this. And America, let's hate watch your decisions. Like,
I think we got off topic a little bit.
Oh, super off topic. That's the problem with doing a podcast with me.
Well, but basically, like, the reason I wanted to talk about being an introvert and just privacy, even if like you don't like label yourself as an introvert, just having privacy. I think a lot of partners are staying together when they probably wouldn't have lived together already, or even people who are already married who just don't have the option of leaving when they need to blow off steam.
Oh, of course.
Like, how that's probably affecting relationships. Like, is your relationship, I don't expect you to like air out your dirty laundry, but like, how is kind of being quarantined together affected things?
Well, I also think there's this misbelief that a good relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or what have you, has to be, you love to be around each other all the time. And I just think that's such a fallacy. Like, I think it's about having good boundaries, being able to say, hey, I need some alone time, or hey, I think I want to go for a walk, or just even the ability to be like, hey, I want to go hang out with my friends, which isn't an option anymore. I think what's upsetting is that people are going to think of this quarantine as showing scars or issues or wounds in their relationship, when really this isn't normal. Like, you shouldn't be locked in a cage with your loved one and then be upset that it's not perfect all the time. Like,
right.
I on top of the fact that there's all these underlying fears and issues. And of course, as soon as money problems come in, that's always a bit like, people talk about divorce and it's like, what was the first thing? And you're like, money issues. You're like, cool. Mm-hmm. The whole world's having them. I knew pretty early on that I liked being alone. I think I've always struggled with how much I enjoy being by myself. Like, I'm not saying I don't enjoy the company of others, but I spend so much time by myself in general, and I don't hate it. And also, I read something recently that lonely isn't the act of being alone. It's not feeling connected to others. And that has been the biggest thing, is like, I felt extremely lonely as a teenager. I just felt misunderstood and alone, and I had no real outlets, and I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't really understand my own feelings about myself and the world. And now that's not true. I do understand myself in a lot of ways, and I like myself a lot more, and I have a community of friends and peers that I feel like I can relate to and talk to. I have a fan base that gets what I'm trying to do creatively. Like I feel connected in that way, that being alone from, let's say, 9 a.m. when I get up to often 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night isn't a sad thing for me. It
Right.
doesn't really bother me. And then of course I have that connection that when I go to clubs and I see my peers and I talk to audience members and then I hang out with my friends and get dinner. So it's in some ways my day is shaped around how I function best, which is I think an exceptional amount of alone time to feel the best version of myself. And I think some people never get that. If you have kids, like that's not an option. You know what I mean? All of a sudden the moments of alone time are gone. And now, you don't have even that brain space to be alone. And you start to be like, why am I agitated? Why am I yelling at my kids? But all of a sudden that little bit of alone time that you once had is all gone. Or just having an extreme job. Like my little brother is a paralegal and like he's working the whole time, gets home, I think he eats something, he goes to bed and then starts over again. And maybe you're not talking to people the whole time, but I do think just even being in a space alone is so important. I love my bedroom. Like I
Yeah.
love my room.
You,
My space is so important to me.
yeah, you saw how much work I was putting into my room because it's just I want a room I want to be in.
Yeah, and I think we do so much work alone. I think as a comic, you have to be okay with your alone space. I don't think it makes you an introvert to like your alone space, but I do think the creative process is done alone. Even if you're somebody that has a writing partner, even if you're somebody that feels like your ideas are best when they bounce off other people, the initial spark is always, in my mind, by yourself. Me physically writing by myself is such an important process. And then I love, like, we'll talk on the phone and I'll say something and you'll be like, oh my God, that's funny, write it down. Or you say something and I'm just like, oh, let's flesh that out and we build it. Like we both go back and forth, like encouraging people, helping each other build our ideas. But I still think the spark, you have to be okay with that alone time. And I think sometimes when somebody says I'm having trouble being creative or I feel stuck, I'm just like, well, are you filling every ounce of time with music and movies and talking to friends on the phone? When you cram every waking hour with some kind of stimulus, you can't be alone with your thoughts.
Well, some people do function like that. Like one of Johnny's flatmates, he's constantly, if he's not listening to music, he's singing music, or he speaks out loud to himself, or like he's just a constant noise output, which I've noticed with my misophonia.
Just keeping tabs.
Which is fine, and I think that might just be how he stays creative. But like for me, that's not how I work at all. Like I need silence and I need to just be in my own head. Like other people can be around me, but I just need to be like on my own, like in my head, not engaging basically.
Yeah.
So I could tune them out.
Yeah. And I do think some people's like little habits, like singing to themselves or having music on the background might be their way of getting in the zone, like we talked about earlier. But I think of my best ideas when I go for a run, when I'm in the shower, when I'm driving, any kind of thing where like I just let my mind wander. Do you feel like you have always been an introvert, or do you feel like it's changed over time?
I don't know. Like when I was little, I spent a lot of time on my own in my room because I never learned to speak Arabic. I barely understand it. And being around, like when my parents would socialize with other Egyptian families, I think I learned a lot of body language because I didn't know what they were saying. But I also just was in my own head all the time. Sometimes I think it's the cycle of the month. Like I think like sometimes the 2 weeks before my period, I want to be on my own. I want to hibernate and I want to be introspective. And then the other 2 weeks, I want to be out and like talking to people. And of course, like the weather also affects all of that.
That is interesting. I do wonder how our cycle, because it is all hormones and it messes with our kind of mental abilities sometimes. Like I do find myself to be more introspective and more like analyzing things at some points of my cycle.
Oh, totally. I think I do. I think I bomb more in the like the week before my period because I just think I'm tired. I'm not sharp. I want to be more introspective so I don't feel like performing. I don't feel like being a performer. And I think audiences can sense that. So I don't know. I mean, it's just in my head maybe, but like I do think that I have less good shows. I don't really bomb anymore. I'm pretty awesome. No, but I do think I have less good shows than I do the rest of the 3 weeks. I think that week before I'm drained. I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like being an extrovert. I don't feel like performing.
What I find interesting is like the only time I'm really around people constantly is like a comedy festival or a vacation. And I always find myself the week after those moments, I have to like, I that's when I start to hibernate, where it's just like, I've just spent way too much time with too many people that I think I need to like, I'll kind of pull away from people. Like, I don't know if you ever do that, where like it's kind of unconscious that I have been around people too much. I'm not going to be the best version of myself. And I just start to kind of pull away, and I start lying in my schedule. Like I start to be like, oh, Tuesday's pretty crazy. Maybe I'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and it starts to be me finding any way I can to be alone, to just recharge and ultimately get back to my equilibrium where I can see a couple of people during the day and it doesn't throw me off.
Well,
We said some
I think
stuff.
we learned a lot here. Yeah.
Well, we want to hear if you feel you're more an extrovert or introvert. What are some of the kind of signs that make you feel that you're that way? What are some of the things that you do to recharge? I love hearing how people recharge. Do you need to read a book? Do you need to take a nap? Do you need to just go for a walk and be away from people? And then even for extroverts, I love hearing that you're just like, I need to go to a party and dance for 4 hours, and then I feel like I'm a person. But I love learning all that stuff about people. I always like hearing people's let's get personal. So if you're somebody that absolutely would never wear shoes in the house and you think we're disgusting animals, I would love to hear that. And vice versa. If you're like, shoes, why would I take them off? I paid X amount of money for them. I'm going to wear them as much as possible, which is almost how I feel. And I don't even spend money on shoes. Please email us at 2nondoctors, full word doctors @gmail.com. We are on Instagram at 2nondoctorsdrs. And we are also now on Facebook, 2nondoctors. And you guys have really been listening to us on YouTube, and we appreciate it. So subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, subscribe.
Rate, review, please. Like those are awesome for us.
Oh,
if you
yeah. Rate, review us on iTunes. We have a Patreon. We're doing some bonuses on the Patreon. So we have bonus episodes,
extra episodes,
early access to episodes since we're only once a week. You can even tell us what we should be Googling. We have a bunch of bonuses. So thank you for listening. You guys are lovely. You're the reason that we get up in the morning. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye. It's the greatest day of your life.